Up next, we dive into the classics as we look back at an artist who dominated the adult contemporary Christian charts for a decade and a half, from the mid-80s through to the end of the 90s, amassing 33 top 10 singles, with 19 of those going number one. The artist is Twila Paris, coming up on Andrew's Journey in Christian Contemporary Music. Welcome to Andrew's Journey in Christian Contemporary Music, where we dive into the classics, discover what's new, and demonstrate the originals. Hey, if you're into all things Christian contemporary music, why don't you hit that red subscribe button? And don't forget, if you like this video, to hit that thumbs up. It's really important. Climb aboard, let's do the CCM journey together. When my wife and I were dating back in the late 80s, she introduced me to this. An old radio. It's heavy. She got it from when she was living back home. She showed me that on a relatively clear day over Lake Ontario, you could set the antenna and adjust the tuner to dial in the Buffalo, New York Christian FM station perfectly from where we were in Toronto. She would often tune in to the late afternoon daily show when she got home from work. The show featured mainly adult contemporary and inspirational music. And not a show would go by that didn't include the music of Twila Paris. Twila's music was adult contemporary, but at times pop, maybe even rock. It was inspirational, but at times modern praise and worship, before the term modern praise and worship even existed. But overall, Twila was someone who could write, and write some more. She has over 20 albums to her credit, and many of her worship songs have been sung in churches over the decades. My wife and I collected a lot of Twila's music over the years, and in this episode, I'm going to give you my 5 favorite Twila albums, from number 5 down to number 1. I find these albums so consistent that the order from 5 to 1 could change on any given day, so this is my order today. And if you are new to Twila's music, these albums are a great way to start. And if you've followed Twila's music over the years, leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite albums or what your favorite singles of Twila's are. Here we go, coming in at number 5, Kingdom Seekers, Twila's 5th album from 1985. On the heels of her previous album that started this run of radio hits, Kingdom Seekers continued with memorable chart-topping songs like Runner, Lamb of God, and He is Exalted, which is possibly, of all her songs, the most sung in churches everywhere. If you're looking for a deep track on this album, try Breaking My Heart or It All Goes Back. Those are great songs as well. Coming in at number 4, Cry for the Desert, Twila's 9th release from 1990. This is the only album on this list that is not produced by Jonathan David Brown. It was produced by Brown Bannister, and to me is Twila's best sounding album. Don't get me wrong, JDB's albums sound great, but Bannister seemed to bring Twila's music to another level. This one is a real headphone listener. Perhaps also the contributions of then Whiteheart members Chris McHugh on bass, Tommy Sims on bass, and guitarist Gordon Kennedy might have also had something to do with it. Have a listen to the song Nothing But Love, or the title track, and if you're familiar with the Whiteheart sound at that time, you may hear some similarities. But don't stop there. Listen to the whole album, especially the wonderful song How Beautiful, which is a great example of Twila's ability to write an inspirational song that not only inspires, but it brings you into the very presence of God. Coming in at number 3, The Warrior is a Child, Twila's 4th release from 1984. This album, and the title track in particular, is what started this barrage of top 10 singles for Twila. Even though she had released 3 albums prior, The Warrior as a Child marked a significant jump in all areas: songwriting, arranging, production, you name it. The title track went to number 1, and the second single, Do I Trust You, went to number 2. As great as these songs are, and they are great, my favorite has to be Forever Eyes, which is about as rocking a song as you're going to get from Twila. Think Foreigner, Toto, Journey, that kind of rock sound. Though not a top 10 single, We Bow Down is also a fairly well-known praise and worship song on this great release. Coming in at number 2, Same Girl, Twila's 6th release from 1987. With 5 top 10 singles already from the 2 previous releases, The Warrior as a Child and Kingdom Seekers, Same Girl produced 4 more top 10 singles, all great songs. But 2 of my favorites are deeper cuts. Running to the Rescue has this R&B funk groove with a wonderful bridge section. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the great bass player Abraham Laboriel played bass on that track. And the second deep track that I also think is just a great one is the beautiful song I Feel It, a beautifully sung song which features an acoustic guitar solo by none other than Phil Keaggy. And now my number 1 pick, my favorite album, For Every Heart, Twila's 7th release from 1988. This was the first Twila album my wife and I bought together as a couple. Still remains my favorite, well, for today anyways, but usually is my favorite. 3 songs went to number 1 off this album: Sweet Victory, Every Heart That Is Breaking, and True Friend, all great songs. But my favorite deep cut is also perhaps my favorite of all Twila's praise and worship songs, You Have Been Good. I would like this song sung at my funeral. It's so simple but powerful as it recognizes the goodness of God throughout our lives. The chorus simply goes, For by your hand we have been fed, and by your spirit we have been led. My wife and I saw Twila in concert twice, and both times I shed tears. I'm not one to throw around the word anointed every time I hear a beautiful song or a great sermon, but whenever I hear Twila's music, it's one of the words that comes to mind. I continue to be touched by her music to this very day. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to send your comments. If you've grown up with Twila's music, how has it impacted you? I'd love to know. And if you're new to Twila's music and you're checking it out, get back to me and let me know your thoughts. We'll see you next time on Andrew's Journey in Christian Contemporary Music. Bye for now. God bless.